Welcome, YouTube. Glad you're with us. We are so happy to see you today. And we are here to record episode 239 of the Family Meeting Podcast. And we're glad that you are here watching.
That's crazy. 239.
It's going quick. Thomas, as you can see, he's wearing his Easter egg colored Family Meeting t-shirt today because we just finished Easter.
This t-shirt costs less than a dozen eggs.
We can tell.
No, eggs are expensive. It's not t-shirts cheap. Eggs are expensive.
They're not that expensive.
Yes, they are. They're like $1 million an egg.
Whatever. Okay.
You can buy Fabergé eggs cheaper.
I'm trying to talk about Easter.
Okay.
We had a great Easter. We had something that has never, ever, ever happened to us in all the years that we have been married. We had Easter lunch with just the six of us.
Yep, nobody else.
That's never happened in our whole history of being married.
It was my favorite Easter lunch of all time.
Yes, and it was not my choice. It was his choice because I always invite everybody and their mother, and he asked me not to invite anybody, and I didn't.
You've had 21 Easters. It's my turn.
Yep.
So I get the next 21.
No. But it was nice. I mean, like, it was very nice. It was quiet and simple.
Well, here's the thing. We have such a busy Easter day.
Yeah.
Like, up to that, we got up super early. Had to be at the beach at 5:30 to set up.
So we get up at 4 on Easter.
Beach service. Then I had to go to the hospital to pray with somebody who's having surgery that day. Walk into church in time for church to start. And it was just church and then tear down.
It was nuts.
So I was done.
Yeah. And we also broke another tradition. We usually have ham on Easter, like what is like the classic Easter dinner.
Because she makes ham for everybody else.
Because everybody else likes ham. Thomas is not, like, you don't dislike it. You eat it, but it's not your favorite.
No, it's not something I'm like, ooh, let's have ham.
Right. But usually when I make it, you're like, oh, no, this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy it, but it's not like...
It's not what he would choose.
I would choose, yeah.
So I asked him, I was like, okay, if it's just the six of us, do you want me to make a ham? And he's like, no.
I wanted roller dogs from the gas station, but
I said no.
She ruled that out.
We ended up making, for the first time ever, leg of lamb, and it was really good.
It was great. Leg
of lamb with lamb gravy made from the drippings. And then we also had goat cheese, which is like so good paired with lamb. So it was a wonderful day.
Made butter eaters, so that was good.
Butter eaters are his family tradition.
Yeah. Best family tradition ever. Mm-hmm. So if you hit me up in the comments and ask me what butter eaters are, I'll fill you in. So
it kind of sounds like it's going to be like you just like take a big pat of butter and just eat it, and it's not.
Don't spoil it.
That's not what it is. I'm just saying what it's not. Not saying what it is.
Hit me up in the comments and we'll fill you in.
Okay.
So,
but today we're gonna talk about connecting with your children when there's kind of a natural disconnect, and that is dads with daughters, mothers with sons.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about today.
Gotcha.
You ready to get into the episode?
Yeah. So, how are you going to talk about sons?
I'm going to use my imagination.
Okay. So, there's going to be a lot of coconut talk today from this one.
Yeah.
You got to take him out for his birthday lunch.
Gross.
Gather around, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas. This is my wife, Lysandra. No son, Osterkamp.
Wah, wah, wah. Hello and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 239 of the Family Meeting Podcast. We are glad you are with us today. On today's episode, we're going to talk about meeting your children where they're at. This is kind of a continuation of a couple of episodes ago where we talked about connecting with your adult children, which can be very difficult. And we gave some ideas about that.
So if your kids are at the park, drive down to the park and go see them.
Meet where they're at?
Yeah.
That's not what we mean.
Oh. You mean like if they're working at Starbucks, you go buy Starbucks?
Well, kind of.
If they're sitting on the couch, you sit on the couch?
Yes.
Okay.
That actually is true. But no, specifically we are talking about how difficult it can be to connect with your children when there's kind of a natural disconnect, as in dads and daughters and mothers and sons. There's already some things that are challenging there, but it could also be personality types.
Yeah.
It could be like, mom's a super extrovert and this child is a big time introvert. I've had that, situation in my family. Could be varying interests. You've got like maybe the dad is the classic nerd and the son is a jock, or whatever. So just talking about connecting, but we really are talking mainly today and focusing on how can dads connect with daughters and mothers connect with sons.
Before we get into today's conversation, we're looking forward to May 23rd through 25th. We're going to be in Byram, Mississippi with our friends, the Howells, for their marriage retreat. Gonna have a good time.
So close.
Yeah.
Like at this point, that feels like
it's a month away.
I mean, and a month, as everybody knows, in the busy lives we lead, a month goes fast.
Yeah. So we're gonna be there. We're gonna have a good time with them, talking about leveling up your marriage. So if you are in the area, we'd love to have you be a part of that. You can hit us up in the comments and we'll make sure you get all the information that you need.
Yeah.
So there is a social media trend that's going on right now.
Oh, yes. It's so funny.
And if you haven't jumped on this yet, you're going to want to jump on this. So uploaded our Easter photo, family Easter photo, and asked ChatGPT to roast our Easter picture.
Because Easter was, 4 days ago now? So we just passed Easter.
3 days ago, but who's counting?
Not me.
So it's very interesting to see what happened. And you can go with the more mild roast, or you can literally just have it totally be like scorched earth. Yeah. So
what did you
kind of read you through ours, what we have.
What'd you put in? Is ours mild or was it tough? Do you remember?
I just asked ChatGPT to roast our Easter picture.
Okay, so probably this is the more mild.
So we have gave me shot up 6 things. I've seen people with less and people with more, depending on what they have going on. So for those of you who are on social media with us, you've seen our Easter picture. Let me kind of show those of you on YouTube so you can kind of get an idea of what the picture is as I get ready to explain this to you. So it's the 6 of us, and we got Coconut as well. And it says, number 1, the dog's the real star. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, everyone else is just a backup dancer to that fluffy pup in plaid. He's got more swagger in his little paws than the rest of you combined.
It's cute.
And he's got his little Easter outfit. I actually matched him. I got a shirt that matches his colors. Number 2 says Easter or a rom-com premiere. With all the floral and flowy dresses, it looks like the Hallmark Channel is filming Love Blooms at the Oster Camps.
I thought that one was so funny. Love Blooms at the Oster Camps.
Hallmark movie. Yeah, because all of you have flowery dresses.
We do, and we didn't really plan that. Some of the girls got new dresses, but...
Well, when they were young, you used to go and just pick out their Easter dresses and then all wear exactly the same.
It was so easy. I'd be like, oh, that one's pretty. Get 4 of them in their sizes. And actually, I just texted my Aunt Gail because she used to buy their Easter dresses. And I texted her and I was like, it was so nice of you to do that for so many years. Thank you for blessing our family with Easter dresses because the girls loved it.
And we still walk by like little toddler dresses, and it reminds me of those days.
Yeah.
But they all chose something flowery. They're all different colors. But
yeah.
Number 3 was the savage one for me.
Yeah, this was like straight up attacking you, and it was fabulous.
Dad's color coordination game, strong or suspect. He's giving us Easter egg who lifts vibes. That is just cruel.
Easter egg who lifts.
That shirt is tighter than the lid on a pickle jar. And we all see who skipped leg day, which is totally not true. I had leg day yesterday and I'm feeling it. So
yeah, but ChatGPT thinks you have chicken legs.
AI just scorched me. Like, that is so rude.
I love the shirt tighter than a pickle jar. That was like killing me.
Yeah, that was just rude. Number 4 was the sisters' symmetry. The symmetrical lineup of the girls is so perfect. It looks like you're about to bust into a choreographed Disney family dance number. Cue High School Musical soundtrack. Number 5, mom's winning.
Oh, skip it.
Mom's winning smile. She's clearly the queen of the picture. It was nice to you.
Yeah, it was pretty nice to me.
Holding that dog like it's Simba on Pride Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Bonus points for the shoes that say, I'm here to slay brunch.
That was funny.
And then number 6 was backyard or botanical garden. Either this is your yard or you rented a suburban jungle for 30 minutes to get the perfect mix of dandelions and dad jokes.
That is our backyard. This is what's funny, though, is our neighbors in the back of us, which is what we look at, by the way, when we record, because we are in our living room and we are looking in our backyard at Dave and Alice's house. And they have a chain link fence rather than like a privacy fence. And I'm so glad they do, because they have professional landscapers who come into their yard, and their yard is so beautiful, pristine, and we get to enjoy it like it's our backyard, even though we don't put any of the effort. So it's kind of nice. And even ChatGPT recognized it.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it was quite comical. If you've not jumped on there and done your family yet, you definitely should jump on there. I had one of my people I'm connected to on social media tell me that they have just been going through all their photos and having ChatGPT just roast them.
Roast all their photos?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
I don't know if I could handle the savage one.
That was a lot of fun.
I don't think I could handle that. You could handle it.
Yeah, I would think that was funny.
Yeah,
like the more savage,
the
the funnier it is. Like I really was cracking up.
I'm like, be gentle.
Yeah. Tighter than a pickle jar. Lid on a pickle jar. That was just rude.
Rude and true.
No. I mean, the shirt is tight because I'm massive up top.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't help that. You know, all you on YouTube, you see it.
The muscles. What are you going to do?
Yeah. It's not my fault. I mean, it is, but...
I love the muscles.
The egg comment, that was just rude.
The egg comment was funny.
Rude.
Okay, should we actually get down to business today?
Let's get down to business.
Okay, that right there shows that you are a girl dad, because he just sung a song from Mulan.
I think Mulan.
Yeah, it's Mulan. When you hear random phrases and you start singing Disney musicals, you are a dad of daughters.
Yeah, seriously.
But listen, it is really difficult sometimes to connect with your children. It can be. And
I would say the older our girls have gotten, the harder it's been for me to connect. It's just, there are times where it feels awkward.
How was it easy to connect when they were younger? Like, what made it easier?
I was just goofy with them and whatever. Yeah,
playful and like watch the cartoons.
Yeah.
And pretend to be the cartoons.
And we did tea parties and all that kind of stuff. So
I totally agree with you that it's really easy when they're young, which is funny because, you know, some of you may be in that younger stage right now and you're like, oh, it's so tough to connect with my kids. I guess what we're trying to say is it gets worse.
I mean, it depends on who you are, right? Because if you are a mom who is like very prim and proper and likes everything in its place, but you've got, you've got this little boy running around who's in the mud and dirt and filth and everything else. Like that could be difficult to connect with them.
Agreed. But there's a good chance that same son is going to grow up and be a really filthy teenager.
Yeah, I don't know. That mom hopes not, but
yeah. Well, and I can't really speak to connecting with sons because I have none.
Yeah.
So I
should have got one of our friends who, moms on this podcast who's got like 4 sons. Ashley would have been great.
Ashley would have been great. Bree has 4 sons.
Yeah. So
we've got a lot of moms with sons.
I should have swapped you in and out this week.
Yeah, for a different partner.
Yeah, that way we can have a little benefit to the episode here.
Yes. But what I told Thomas is the way I'm going to present this episode is I'm going to use my imagination. And if I had a son.
When with all her personalities, one of them has sons somewhere.
Right. But you say that it's more awkward now to connect with the girls. And for those of you who don't know, our girls are now 19, 18, 17, and 14. So we have 4 teenage daughters. They all live in our home right now.
Not 17 yet.
That's right. She will be 17 on Monday.
Close.
She's so close. What makes it difficult now?
Not this Monday.
Yeah, isn't it this Monday? Oh, no, this Monday's the 28th. You're right. It's next Monday. We're planning the birthday. That's what we did yesterday.
I'm
and
like,
this
wait a
morning.
minute. Did I miss
No,
some days
you're right.
somewhere?
It is a Monday and a half. It's a week and a half away.
Okay.
Anyway, Thomas.
Close enough.
Thomas.
Yes.
What makes it awkward to connect with the girls now?
I mean, they're women now.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just what the things that they enjoy and are into are so far removed from a 44-year-old man. So, that is the thing. Is trying to figure out the things that I can connect with them on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think you do a good job, but we will get into that in here in a little bit. But the bottom line is that parents can fail to meet their children where they're at in a variety of different ways. And we have already hit on some of those things, but it can be a disconnect between expectations, experiences, or even just understanding the child's current reality and where they're at in life. And of course, it can be that gender difference. I can't relate to a son because I don't remember what it was like to be a little boy. Now, I totally remember what it was like to be a little girl. I remember what it was like to be a teenage girl, and I can relate to my girls.
You can think back that far.
Absolutely. My earliest childhood memories are 4 and 5, so I remember emotions that I had at 4 and 5.
That was like 36 years ago.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. But there are times when the girls come to me with something that happened, a situation, and I'm like, yeah, I totally understand. I was there. That happened to me. My friend did that or whatever. And so it's really easy to connect. And yet, you don't have that benefit. So you have to maybe work a little bit harder at connecting with the girls.
And it can be challenging for dads to connect with daughters and for moms to connect with sons for a variety of reasons, many of which stem from differences in gender, emotional expression, society, societal expectations. These challenges can be overcome with understanding and communication, but the difficulties are real.
They are.
So,
yeah. And that's the thing too, is like, we want to recognize that it's hard.
yeah.
We want to recognize that it's difficult. And Thomas does an amazing job with our daughters, connecting with them. And if you follow him on social media, it just looks like he's the super dad, which he is. But he kind of makes it look easy, but it's not easy. You work at
I love
it.
how you're like, he kind of looks like Super Dad.
Kind of.
Yeah. It's like, it looks like it. He's
You
not
are a super dad,
really.
but it doesn't come easy.
No,
You work at it.
And, depending upon your family dynamic, certain things can make it harder. So I'm a dad with 4 daughters, and there's basically nothing of the female persuasion that could embarrass me or make me uncomfortable.
Yes.
So that's not true of all dads. Like, even some husbands, like, they don't want to hear anything about their wife's time of the month or certain things. And it's just like, none of those things bother me. So I will go buy tampons or I'll go buy whatever things the girls need. And it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, which is a nice benefit. But there are some dads where like anybody even begins to talk about that or hint at any of that stuff,
They're like,
they're running.
I'm out of the room.
They're running. Yeah. Because, I mean, there's a lot of girl stuff.
Which
in
is
this
so
house.
funny because dudes are way more gross than girls.
No question.
So that always amuses me when there's guys who are like, I don't want to hear anything about that. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. So we're going to talk first of all about, we're going to look at dads and daughters first, which we understand in this house. And then we're going to talk about moms and sons. But here are some of the challenges that you may have, or some of the reasons that you as a dad are having a hard time connecting with your daughter. It may be that you don't always know how to navigate or respond to the emotional needs of daughters. Wow, right? Emotional?
Oh, yeah.
The emotions in this house are just wild.
Well, and there's sometimes where I'm just great about it, and there's other times where it's just like I'm highly annoyed. Like, really, like that little thing brought this giant reaction, but it's all a part of it.
Where you want to kind of be just like, okay, you have a lot less sympathy for them or empathy.
Yeah, there's definitely times where that's true, and there's times where I'm like holding them tight and letting them cry and whatever else.
Do you think that the difference is when it makes sense or doesn't make sense to you? Like, I understand why you are hurt in this sense, so it's easier for me to comfort you. Over here, this thing doesn't make sense to me, so it's harder for me to comfort you.
That may have a little bit to do with it. Sometimes it has to do with just what's going on in my life also.
Okay, like
where
how stressed.
Yeah, where I just got different things happening, so I've got less to give maybe.
Yeah.
So it
Yes.
just depends.
Right.
So I mean, the same is true in our relationship, right?
Oh,
so, there's a lot of factors that come into play.
Yeah. And if you are a dad who is living in high stress all the time, you may feel like you never have sympathy for your daughter's emotional outbursts.
Yeah,
because you live there.
But you've got to find it. You've got to find it.
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to be able to connect with them.
Which is what this episode's about. And girls typically express emotions more openly. Now we have a variety of emotional expressive girls.
Well, and we do have friends that have sons, and we've heard that the boys can be quite emotional.
Yeah, they can be
growing up
dramatic and
also.
stuff too. Yeah. But just because you're a girl, it doesn't mean you automatically like have all this emotional expression. Some don't, and our girls vary in how much they have. But if the dad was raised in an environment where emotions were not used very often, or they were very, infrequently discussed, or maybe you grew up in a home where like nobody said I love you, nobody was demonstrative or loving really. And like if you cried, you were made fun of or shamed for it, because you were a boy. Men were made to be men, then it's probably going to be more difficult for you to connect with daughters, but not impossible.
Yeah, it definitely can be more difficult.
Because you were raised that way.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever cry in front of your dad?
Not that I remember. I mean, other than getting my butt whooped, but not that I remember.
What do you think would have happened if you had cried in front of your dad? Would he have been like, there, son?
No, definitely not.
Would he have made fun of you?
I don't know what would have happened, but not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not that.
But yeah, so it depends on kind of how you were raised too.
And that's true. And then you've got different communication styles also. So women and men in general tend to communicate differently, right? So that can create some complications. Dads might prefer more straightforward, logical communication, whereas daughters may place a higher emphasis on emotional connection and understanding. And this mismatch can make conversations feel more strained or lead to misunderstandings.
Yeah.
So where it's like you and your daughter are literally speaking two different languages.
Yes.
And so you're not connecting because of that.
Yep.
And honestly, dads, the onus is on us to speak their language, learn the skibbities and all that kind of stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah.
The Riz and the
Yeah. But not just the like
super mega bussin'.
Yeah. Not the terms of the day. Not just the terms of the day. Yes, that's part of it. But also the fact that like a girl typically, there are exceptions, but typically a girl wants to have a conversation that is seen through the eyes of emotion. And this is how I feel about the situation, which is why it matters. Whereas typically a man is like, give me the details, give me the facts, the high points, like what do I need to know? What's the information? Whereas a girl wants to share like how she felt about the information.
And there's the whole situation that happens between husbands and wives, and it can happen between daughters and dads also, where the daughter just needs to talk about what happened and work through her feelings, and dad immediately wants to try to fix it. What do you mean he said this to you? Like, I'm going to go take care of it.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to take care of it.
Like, no, Dad, don't embarrass her that way. She doesn't want you to go and confront that little boy. She wants to be able to talk. She wants to know you care and that you are in a situation that'll make her feel safe.
Yeah, and just listen to her usually. Typically, you just listen to her. But another thing that can make this really difficult and cause disconnection with dads and daughters is the developmental changes that come in. And Thomas has briefly talked about how this never really bothered him, but it can some dads, and some husbands are just like, don't even tell me. I don't even want to hear about it. But daughters are going to go through puberty. This is what happens. They're going to go through the adolescence and all the emotions and hormones that come with that. And they will face, like girls face, unique physical and emotional changes. And they are changes that dads never experience. So how can they relate to it?
Well, and as a dad, you kind of had to work through the situation yourself of your daughters becoming women. Like it's weird being on this side of that, where it's like, this is my sweet little daughter, my little angel, and now, she has become a woman, and that's a whole different way that you interact with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very different. But even knowing like how to approach discussions about that time of the month, and even approaching such conversations and discussions about social dynamics, right? Like, this girl said this and this friend did this, and girls are so catty. Like, girls can be savage. They can be so mean to one another. And like how to navigate listening to that without being like, just, you're never seeing that girl again, ever.
So here's the thing about, I just want to clarify some things for some dads who may be listening.
Okay.
If you've not had conversations like very personal conversations with your daughters, don't listen to this podcast episode and then go ask your daughter about her period.
Oh my God.
So
no, do not.
We talk about a lot of things, but I don't have personal conversations one-on-one with our kids about that topic.
No.
Really any personal lady stuff.
No.
Now, we do have family discussions, and it happens out in the open, and we're free to talk about it like that. But I don't just walk up to any of my daughters and, ask them about those things.
No. I'm glad you clarified that, because I guess that could come off that's what we're saying.
Yeah, so don't do that. That will probably horrify them.
Yes.
So the biggest thing is when conversations happen, not freaking out.
Right. Not acting uncomfortable.
And that's kind of true about whatever it is they're talking about,
mm-hmm.
right? So we want to make sure that those lines of communication are always open, that they feel comfortable talking to us. So how you react to what they talk about, but don't just jump into a weird conversation if you don't have a reason to.
Right. Absolutely.
So I wanted to clarify that, since you mentioned approaching them about, that time of the month.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, oh my goodness, these poor single dads, like you see movies about it, like where a dad's trying to raise his daughter and mom passed away or something.
And that's a different situation in and of itself, where you then have to have those personal conversations, right? Yeah.
But,
so that's a different situation. But
that's tough. That's really tough. All right. So let's flip the coin. Let's talk about sons, something we know nothing about.
Okay. Yeah. Mom's interacting with sons.
We only have one son. His name is Coconut, and he's a little furball. He's so cute. He's our Havanese puppy.
He's a daddy's boy.
But I will not even pretend like he's the exact same as having a son.
That's good, because that's kind of an insult to all the moms out there with their sons.
It is.
So here, let's talk to these moms for a little bit, trying to connect. And we do want to say this: we want to hear from our boy moms.
Yes, please.
And we'd love for you to be able to share your experience and your insights with us. So, those of you who are watching by way of YouTube right now, if you drop it in the comments, we'd love to be able to share those comments on an episode with the other moms who are out there who'd love to learn from your experience. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to kind of talk about some of these differences that can make it difficult. And so we're flipping the coin here. And you've got sons who may be less likely to openly express emotions, especially as they get older. And this can be hard. And we've had conversations with boy moms about this, where it's like, while their sons are young, like they're very open to talking to mom and being around her and all this stuff. And then as they move into puberty and they start to get older, it's like they kind of distance themselves from mom, and it's a little awkward and it's a little weird and it's a little, walk in the house, go straight to their room, shut the door. So, that can create some difficulties.
Yeah.
Boys are often socialized to suppress vulnerability and emotions like sadness, fear, or anxiety. So this can leave moms feeling disconnected or uncertain about how to support their sons in moments of emotional need.
Yeah, I really can't imagine. I can imagine, but I can't imagine. That's got to be really tough. Because these boys are constantly told, be a man, don't cry, men don't have feelings. It's kind of like there's this idea out there. And
just crazy because we all have feelings.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with them.
We just learn to stuff them down, and then we're having heart attacks in our 40s, and no one can figure out why.
Right. But being emotionally intelligent is strong. That is the definition of strength, and so we need to teach our boys how to be.
Is that Webster's Dictionary of Strength?
That is Lysandra's definition of strength.
Okay.
Emotionally mature is strength.
I really think that the next book you write should be your own dictionary.
Ooh. Oh my goodness, I would love that.
And
that sounds fun.
It would take you a long time.
It would take me a long time, but that sounds really fun.
Lysandra's Dictionary says...
Lysandra's Dictionary 2025.
Defines strength as emotional intelligence.
Yeah, nobody's going to read that. There's no credibility to this. All right, let's talk about this kind of difficult tension between overprotection and independence. Because, sometimes us moms, we want to be like the helicopter mom, but boys want to have their independence specifically. I mean, all kids do, but specifically boys, because they are trying to be a man. They're trying to become a man. And so how much independence do you give them? How much protection becomes overprotection? And moms definitely do have a tendency to be overly nurturing or protective. We can be that way. But as sons grow older, they're going to be seeking that independence. And then it becomes this balance between being caring without smothering them. And it's tough to navigate that, how to not become a smother, right? The mother that smothers.
Yeah.
And if you need more information on this, I would highly recommend watching The Goldbergs.
Yeah.
Beverly Goldberg is a fabulous smotherer.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. We definitely have had some laughs about her in this family. Schmoopy poo and everything.
Yeah. But it can be very tough to navigate. You're right. Mm-hmm. And then you have the physical distance. I referenced this just a little bit ago that takes place, as boys grow older, they may become more physically distant from their moms. Mm-hmm. Andy Stanley and his wife in their parenting book, she talks about this.
And it's a great book. Read it.
And just talks about the fact that they kind of had to make a switch where Andy had to take on more of a role with dealing with their sons because of this right here.
Yeah.
And so, especially in cultures where boys and girls are expected to follow gender norms regarding physical affection, sons may become more focused on peer groups, sports, or activities that don't involve their mothers, which can create emotional distance as well. Mm-hmm. So you've got a physical distance happening also with an emotional distance, and that can really leave moms feeling neglected and kind of just forgotten and left behind.
Yeah, which makes me very sad for boy moms. And this episode has been a little depressing so far. We've just talked about all the challenges, all the things that can be difficult. We've talked about everything that can go wrong. So what can we do? We like to always leave you with something practical that you can implement, or at the very least, an idea where you can take it as your inspiration and do your own thing. So we're going to give you some ideas, some suggestions of how you can meet your children where they're at, whether even if you have that gender difference between the moms and sons and dads and daughters. So the first suggestion that we're going to give you is really listening and focusing on understanding your child's feelings without jumping to advice or solutions right away. Because it's going to help your children to feel heard and validated. And we talked about how, I guess Thomas did, about how your typically a male is going to try to step in and fix the problem. So if your daughter is hurt by a boy, the immediate response, you want to just like go punch the boy's lights in or whatever. Or you hear about a social situation where the girlfriends are being mean to the daughter, you want to just be like, you're never seeing her again. That's how we fix that. Because men typically want to be fixers, and typically the girls are looking for just someone to listen and empathize and validate feelings. So that can be really important for dads, especially. But even moms, like there are times when you just need to listen to your boys and not try to fix anything.
Yeah.
Boys can want to just be heard as well. So listen, validate their feelings. Some of the best, most comforting words you can ever hear are, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, yeah, I understand why you're hurt. Yeah, I'd be mad too, or whatever.
And one of the things Sandra Stanley talks about in the book is just understanding the times where her sons especially were most likely to want to communicate. So she talked about the fact that she made sure she was always free when they would get home from school, because that was one of the times where they were most likely to tell her what's going on with their day or ask questions or those sorts of things before they got onto homework and whatever else. And so in meeting her sons where they were at, she made sure that she was free at that moment of the day. There might have been another point at the day that she talks about as well. It's been a little while since I read the book, but
You're
I
going by memory.
remember her talking about that. I think that's such wise advice here. We're just talking about listening and focusing on understanding is you meeting them where they're at. Don't make them talk to you when it's convenient for you. Think about those times. Our good friend Misty Bulow talks about this as well, where, she tries to, when her children talk to her, put the distractions aside.
Set down the phone.
And make sure that, it's time when they want, whether it's like, right before bed or whatever else, but having that time that, okay, it may be inconvenient for you. You may have to shift some things around, your schedule around or whatever else, but these are the times where my children are most likely to communicate, especially as they get older. And we don't want to miss out on those opportunities to connect.
This happened to me, and I know that you are going to jump on and agree with what I have to say here in a second.
We'll see.
We'll see, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be like, yeah, for real. 2 nights ago, this exact thing happened to us. Thomas and I had both worked all day.
Oh,
we were
geez.
exhausted.
Yes.
It's like 7:30, 8:30. I think it was like 8:30.
Oh, it was after 8:30 because, 8:30 is I'm getting ready to go to sleep because I get up before my alarm goes off. Typically, I'll get up before that.
You left the house today at 3:50.
Yeah.
I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, to go to the gym. So, by the time 8:30 p.m. rolls around, I am done.
Yeah. So we are in our room. We are in pajamas. The lights are off. Like, we are winding down. We're about to try to fall asleep.
Well, I'm about to fall asleep. You're about to eat ice cream.
Was I?
Yeah, because you texted one of the girls about
that
bringing
was
ice
last
cream.
night, not 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago was different. Anyway, that's not what I'm getting to.
Okay.
The girls came home. The 2 oldest girls came home at 8:30. They had like a sister time, went out to dinner and like went shopping and stuff. So the 2 oldest girls come home and I can hear them. And so I called them in to be like, hey, how was your time together? And I just kind of wanted to see. Well, as soon as like everybody knew mom and dad's door was open, everyone comes in. So now we've got 4 girls all on the bed with Thomas and me. Thank God we got a king size bed.
You've had ice cream 2 nights in a row.
Did I have ice cream that night?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got to stop. Today is a new day.
Because we were all sitting around and...
Was I eating ice cream?
No, but you had texted Violet about ice cream.
Oh, I was mad because she hadn't brought it to me yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, our kids bring us ice cream.
So literally to end... Once we ended this
good.
30 minutes of just
That's
hanging
true.
out and they were showing us videos on, this, what's the cat called? cat or something?
Oh my gosh. Do not even look it up, you guys. You will hate yourself.
So if you
have
teenagers, you probably heard this stupid thing.
whatever.
It's like this cat that spins around and makes noises and they
my
like
gosh.
make make videos about
Yeah.
it. But
So everyone's on the bed, and like I wanted to be going to sleep apparently after eating ice cream. I forgot about that. But like we were done for the night, and it was not my prime time to talk to my kids. My prime time is morning. I am an early morning person. But Isabella and Catherine both are evening people. Like they like to be up at night. And so I remember thinking to myself, even in that moment, like, there's a part of me that doesn't want to be doing this right now. Like, I don't really want to be talking to my kids right now. I want to be going to sleep. But like that thought quickly was replaced with, this is so worth it.
yeah, we had such a fun time.
We had a great time. We had like an impromptu family meeting at 8:30 at night
We
in
were
our bed.
laughing, having a good time,
Goofing
joking
off.
around.
And there was some like real talk too. Like some of the girls shared different things. And so I can attest to this thing that we're saying here, you're going to have to meet them where they're at, even in their timing of when they want to talk. Now we have a family coffee time every single morning, and that's convenient for me. But now that we have a daughter who works late at night, that's not convenient for her. So I'm going to have to connect with her other times. Like I'm going to have to intentionally connect. The other three still love the morning.
Most of the time she's not coming to coffee now.
Most of the time not. Today she did, which is great. But the other three still like to connect at that time. So I'm still doing that. But now I've got to add in another time for this other daughter. And sometimes the times that they want to talk, it's not convenient for you. You're exhausted or whatever. You got to fight through that because this is only going to last so long. And then they're going to be out of the house. And my time with them is done in this capacity. And so it's worth it.
Yeah. And part of this process happens right away. We've talked about this in the past. Like you're starting when they're really young to develop what your relationship with them is going to be once they leave the house. Mm-hmm. And so you're starting these dialogues of having open and honest communication. And there's going to be bumps in the road, especially as they grow older and they start to develop and all these sorts of things. But you want to make sure, as we've talked about, that dads and daughters or moms and sons should feel safe discussing feelings, changes, challenges without judgment.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, the way we react when they talk about certain things or certain things come up. And just doing regular non-judgmental check-ins are so helpful.
Yeah.
And having those built into your regular routine where you're just checking on and on them. And there's a lot of times where I just, I'm going in and out, or the girls are going in and out. And I'm just like, hey, how you feeling today?
Yeah.
And just kind of checking in to see, emotionally where are they at, and giving them an opportunity to open up and share with me how things are going, and just anything I can help you with, anything you need.
Yeah. So there's a really good book that I have read. I still have it. I want you to read. It's got to be on your list, babe. It is.
My list is so long.
I know it is. Untangling Your Emotions. It's so good. But one thing that it recommends is when people give you a piece of information, rather than just taking it and being like, ask this question. How did that make you feel? Or how do you feel about that? Those are the two ways that you can ask that. And so I have really been implementing that with my kids, and it's getting a little deeper, and if you can implement that when they're young, and so they're already like in this pattern, then you have this pattern of communication between you and your children, whether you are the same gender or not. So when your daughter comes in and is like, my friend, who I thought was my friend, betrayed me and told my secret to another girl. Oh my gosh, how did that make you feel? Your son loses his very important t-ball game. Like, I am so sorry. How do you feel?
So I would say with your sons, you may need to ask a different question, because they may not be comfortable answering the question about how they feel. So asking them a question about, hey, what do you think about that?
Yeah, what do you think about that? Which in a way is saying, how do you feel? But they don't know it.
So just coming at it from a different direction. Yeah. And they may, as they're talking about what they think about it, they may start to talk about their feelings in there.
Yeah.
But for a lot of guys, if you come at them with, how'd that make you feel? Like, wives, even if you go to your husband and like, how did that make you feel? Depending on who they are, if they're not used to talking about their feelings, they're gonna shut down immediately. So when you ask them, hey, what do you think about that? You're more apt to get them to open up
Yeah.
and begin a dialogue. So just I would caution away from what Lysandra's mentioned just a second ago. Depending on, if you built up that from the start and they're used to that, great. If they're not,
but that's what I was going to ask you. What do you think? Like if a mother does that with her son from the very beginning, and a father does that with his son from the very beginning when they're little and growing up, can a boy be used to talking about his feelings and answering that question comfortably?
I think it's possible, depending on the kid. But I think as they transition, as a teenager and things start to transition, they may not feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Especially, depending on if their friends around or whatever. And so you obviously your kid, and if like he shuts down and gets weird when you say it that way, like, okay, let's come at it from a different direction.
Yeah.
And asking people especially men, what they think is like a non-threatening way to get into a conversation. Most guys are be glad to tell you what they think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just a little suggestion for you boy moms with teenagers.
I'd like to hear from a boy mom who has maybe done it that way from the beginning and see what happened. Very curious about that. But it is really important for us to recognize that our children's experiences and emotions are valid. They are real. And even though I only have girls, I have to remind myself of this. Like there are times when I have a grown daughter who is devastated about something that is really silly. Like, bottom line, it's really silly.
Oh, I'm glad that you feel that way also, because there are times where I'm just like, really? This giant reaction from this little thing that happened? Like,
yeah. But
and I have to remind myself of the same thing.
It's real for you.
Like, whatever they're going through, it's real, it's devastating, it's heartbreaking,
Yep.
It's difficult.
Yep. So care about it. Don't minimize what they're feeling.
I don't ever say that to them. I don't ever say, like, really?
Right. No. Let them cry, care for them, tell them that you're sorry it hurts, whatever it is. And then what I try to do, and this is with daughters, but I try to walk them through the feelings so that they can kind of get out of that eventually, try to help them to get out of that. Like, okay, but after this is, by the way, this is after I've already validated and like comforted, like, I wonder if why they did that is this happened or whatever, and like try to help them with that. But there are times when you're not going to understand. Like, it just doesn't make sense why your child is upset about this. So maybe mothers, it's because your son had this athletic thing that fell apart and it's like, this is not a big deal. Who cares? But it's really a big deal to him. So a lot of times you don't understand, but you still need to understand that their experiences are real for them. Their emotions are real for them, and not to minimize them.
And empathizing with what your child is going through creates a safe space for connection. And so you're leaning into what they're feeling, and that gives them an opportunity to connect with you as they choose to.
Right.
And so don't try to force your way in, right? But we're trying to meet them where they're at and give them opportunities to connect with us and share with us as they feel comfortable. And you've got to find, and this can be difficult depending upon the circumstance, but you've got to try to find the balance between being supportive while giving your child space and room to grow. And if you can work to find that balance, that helps to build that trust. So it's like, okay, I know that, they've got to learn to work through these situations. But I also want them to know, like, dad's here. And I do care about what you're going through, care about what's going on in your life and how you're feeling and all those sorts of things. So trying to find that balance.
Mm-hmm. This is a really good idea too, to find activities and topics of mutual interest that can help you with bonding moments. So Thomas, what things with each daughter have you found that are like interests that overlap that you can connect with the girls, even though, they're girls and you're a man?
Yeah, so each of the girls is kind of something a little different. It might be music, it might be TV shows or movies, it might be a certain type of humor, memes, and just things like that. And and just trying to figure out and find out, okay, what is important and what does each girl value and what are they interested in that I can try to connect to. So, for instance, just had birthday date with Isabella, and she's really into reading, and reading like fiction stuff.
Fantasy.
Yeah, young adult fantasy and all that kind of stuff. And so I just ask questions. I show interest in what she's interested in. Walk down the aisles of the bookstore. She loves going to the bookstore, and took her to the bookstore. And so just walk down the aisles. We look at the covers, and I pull out books that look interesting, and we read what the book's about. And so I ask her about stuff she's read, and so yeah, we just find ways to. Yeah, I find ways to connect with each of them, the things that are important to them. I really don't care about young adult romance books, fantasy, whatever. But it's something that's important to her. It's a way that I can connect with her by asking questions. What's the book about? I'll ask her about the last book she read and what it was about and what she liked about it, what she didn't. And so it was funny because we were walking through, we were going to Books A Million, and we walk in the door and they have like tables up front. And she was like, yeah, anytime I see books on this particular table, I just stay away from them because they're going to be a little too spicy, is how she kind of put it. And so I was like, oh, okay. But I just thought that was funny. Like she felt comfortable even approaching the fact that some of these books are a little too sexual. No, she didn't. She used the word spicy, but she felt comfortable. I felt good about that. Like she felt comfortable because I don't read the books she reads. Like I don't look into them.
You used to when she was younger.
When she was younger, I would, and I would kind of take them. But I mean,
she's 18.
She's 18 now, and so the fact that she felt comfortable enough to even come near the topic with her dad walking through the bookstore, I felt really good about. And so, yeah, with each of them, though, it's different. They got different things that they care about and that are important to them. And so whatever it is, just finding that thing that is important to them, and you don't have to care about it. I mean, that specifically. But you can still show interest. And you can ask questions. You can have them teach you about whatever that topic is or whatever that thing is. And that just shows that you care about them, because you care about what they care about. So,
So the inspiration for this episode that started like a year and a half ago, and I just put it into my notes, was a conversation I had with a boy mom, and we were walking on the beach together, just hanging out. And she was like, I had the weirdest day yesterday. It was a day I would never have picked, but I just got to meet my son where he's at because this is his thing. So she took him. She's like, first thing I did was I took him to Top Golf. And she's like, I'm so bad at it. It was awful. It was ridiculous. But we did Top Golf for like 2 hours. And then she wanted to go to Buffalo. He wanted to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. And she was like, I would never go in that restaurant.
I kind of want to spend a day with her son. I don't even know who this is. I'm like, this sounds like a great day.
And he wanted to like watch some sport that was on TV as he ate wings. And she was just like, ugh. It was like, the worst place she could go. She's like, after that, we went to, what's that sporting goods store? I wanted to say Play It Again, but it's not. It's in Daytona near Barnes & Noble. Academy.
Yes, Academy
Sports. So they went through Academy Sports and looked at all the different sports equipment that he was into and spent hours in this store. And she was like, it was like secret torture for me. But I kept a smile on, asked him questions about it, looked at all the stuff he liked. Then I took him to a movie and he picked the movie. Now this was a year and a half ago and I don't remember what movie they went to see, but it was a total like action adventure boy movie. And she was like, we had popcorn.
I am fortunate. All the girls love like action adventure stuff. So like that's an easy way that we can connect. But
yes, and thrillers.
But when they were tiny, like when they were little girls, we didn't just watch like princess movies. We watched X-Men cartoons and Spider-Man cartoons and Batman. So like the superheroes and stuff. So
you trained them young.
I did.
To have an interest
and they all still love to watch action movies and all that kind of stuff too. So
But this mom said at the end of the day, when she was done spending the whole day with her son, they both felt so close. And she's like, if I hadn't done all these things that I really don't enjoy, I wouldn't have that with my son. And he was like 13 or 14. And she's like, this is the only way that I can connect with him. I have to meet him where he's at because he's not going to meet me where I'm at. And I was like, I'm writing that down for a podcast episode because we need to talk about that.
Yeah, your teenage son is not interested in 40-year-old mom stuff.
No, absolutely not.
Not at all.
No. And so she changed her plans to meet him. And I think that's so cool. And I think that's what we all need to be doing for our kids. It doesn't mean that our entire lives are about our kids or they run the home or they rule the roost. Please do not take this to the other extreme. That's not what we're saying. But we are talking about working and intentionally connecting with your kids wherever they are.
Well, and I think too many times we expect our kids to do all the things that we want to do. You know, watch the TV shows we want to watch, the movies we want to watch, listen to the music we want to watch. Like, you know, one of the big things for me is started letting the girls DJ when we drive places.
On family day specifically.
And or just driving down the road, you know, and letting them hook their phone up to the car and play whatever music they want to play. Like so.
You used to not do that.
Yeah.
You let that go.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I want to connect with them.
Okay, here's your next step. You ready for your next step?
What?
Giving them the remote, the television remote, and being like, pick what you want to watch today.
I will often sit down with them and enjoy whatever they're watching. Yeah. But yeah.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes to connect with these kids, but we got to do it. They're worth it. You know.
Family meeting tonight is just sitting down and just talking to your kids about what are the things that they're enjoying right now. This is something I do with the girls every time we go out on their birthday date, especially, is I ask them about what their favorite TV shows are right now. Like, what are you binging? What do you like? Favorite movies? Who's your favorite music artist right now? What are you into? So just having a family meeting, and this is simply we're doing reconnaissance, right? And we're trying to figure out what are the things that they're really enjoying and using those as ways that we can connect with them where they're at. So that means you're going to be watching some cartoons that, you know what, you don't really want to watch, but they enjoy it, and I can have an opportunity. I'm going to watch some you know, boyfriend movies.
Rom-coms.
And ask, what is that movie, the series of movies they were watching. And so
all the boys I've loved before.
Whatever, and
all the boys I've loved before.
There's like a whole series of them. And so, you know, sitting down and watching that. And so, you know, just finding ways that you can connect with them exactly where they're at. And so showing some interest in your kid's life tonight.
Thanks for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org. Or you can email us, especially you boy moms. We want to hear from you.
We need to hear from you because we know nothing.
So email us at info@familymeeting.org. Let us know what you think about today's episode. If you have comments, questions, you can also shoot us a text or call us and leave a voice message at 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting, which will be super fun. We are just going to let our hair down and have fun next episode because we are going to share everyone's comments from a really interesting question we put out there on social media. And the question is, what's the worst thing a husband can say to a wife who's giving birth? And the answers have been hilarious. Maybe you have an answer. What is the worst thing a husband can say to his wife when she is giving birth, when she's in labor? If you have an answer, please send it in before next week so that we can share it on the episode. We'd love to hear from you.
info@familymeeting.org. Send those responses in to make sure you get included in the episode. Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you for being with us, you two.
Yes.
This has been definitely an eye-opening episode and thinking about all the different ways that we can connect. But what I really want to hear from you, so I do want to hear from you if you are a boy mom. We want to hear your ideas because we don't have any ideas of our own on that. And I want to hear about what is the worst thing that a husband can say to his wife when she is in labor. We have already had a lot of responses come in, and it's so funny, but I know that yours is funny too. So share that with us. We want to hear from you. Anything you want to say before we leave?
Thanks for joining us.
All right. Have a great week. Bye.